Welcome to Evolution of Self with me, Britannia. Hello. I read a post on social media the other day, and that's what sparked the thoughts behind today's episode. And it was talking about how not to let your past define who you are. And it's something I've done a lot of work on, both on myself and with other clients, because we think that we are our past. We get attached to our identity of the past because we've lived through it, we've created a story around it, and that can then define how we react to things in the future, how we interact with people, what we think people and situations are like. If we've had a bad experience with a particular type of person, we might then sort of take that forward into our life and think that anyone that's like that is also nasty. We might also interpret what situations mean about who we are. You know, whether we're a nice person, a not nice person, whether we're good or bad, whether we're clever or stupid, whether we're pathetic or whatever else it happens to be. But we create who we are from those events that happen in the past. Now, we always have a choice, and this is something that I've spoken about many times. I think for me it is the most powerful thing that we can realise in life, is that we control the choices that we make, whatever those choices are. Sometimes we don't have many of those choices, but in this regard we do have a choice. We have a choice to live with the story that we've told ourselves about the events that we've experienced and allow that to control and dictate and colour who we are in the future. Or we can choose to rewrite the past, to really understand it and see it, and to create a different story for ourselves. Or to heal the past and then to grow from that and develop in a different way. Now, I've spoken in the past about having had an abusive relationship, and I think the biggest thing for me the biggest healing point for me was when I realised that I allowed it to happen. So before that point, the story I told myself about the experience I had was that I was a victim. And when I told myself that story, it made me powerless, because any relationship I went into in the future could end up the way that that relationship had. Because initially, when I was in that relationship, it seemed to be a loving and kind and, a nice relationship. It was only really as the time went past that it changed and altered and things showed up. I mean, obviously in hindsight, I can see the signs, and also become a lot more wise than I was at the time. I was quite young. What I'm trying to tell you is that when we learn from the past, that we can alter how that past affects our future. So my learning from that was the major one, as I said, the one that set me free was to take responsibility for my part in that particular experience. And my part was that I allowed it to happen. I stayed in that relationship. And because I did that, I allowed it to continue. And that made me as culpable as the other party in that relationship. But it also gave me back power, because it meant that I never had to allow that to happen again going forwards. And so, although it's kind of something that seems, and I know it can most likely trigger a lot of people who've been in similar situations, that they accept responsibility for what went on. That doesn't mean to say that what that person did, the other person, the one doing the abuse, was that you say that their behaviour was okay. What I'm saying is not along those lines at all. It doesn't absolve that person of the behaviour that they displayed, but it simply allows you to take back your power. Because when we take responsibility for things in life, we can then choose to do things differently in the future. Anyway, I'm going into something that I only meant to touch on, because what I really want to emphasise today is that we can rewrite the past. We can either rewrite it, or we can learn from it and change it and grow from it. It does not have a hold on us unless we allow it to have that hold. If I'd wanted to stay in that victim space and see myself as a victim, because There are benefits to that. I think I have done an episode on this and how being a victim is actually an identity, and our ego gets something from that. It gets a certain notoriety because people feel sorry for victims and they kind of empathise with victims. So you get a certain attention from it, and it can be quite hard to let that go. But it also means that your life doesn't really unfold and change, and it doesn't allow you to be a powerful person in your own right. And when I talk about power, I'm talking about authentic power. I'm talking about embracing the soft things in life, like compassion and empathy and humility and all of these things. It's not the power over, it's the power that comes through us. And so for us to make sure that our past does not dictate our future, there are a number of things that you can do. So I've spoken about learning from the past, so accepting it, seeing it differently, changing my interaction with it and learning from it and growing from it. And I actually see that particular situation, and it wasn't pleasant, and I certainly don't condone the other party's actions. But for me, it was a major turning point in life, and a positive one, because it set me on the path of all the things that I'm passionate about now. But also, what we can do with the past is forgive the people in the past, because they're only doing the best that they can do with what they currently know at that particular point in time. Again, this doesn't absolve the behaviour, but it helps you to understand that in the situations that they're in, given what they know and their conditioning, they're only behaving as they see. They have no other option. And this doesn't just go for the particular scenario that I shared, but really with anyone in your life that you've had experiences with. Say, for instance, I had a very odd friend when I was at junior school, primary school actually. She used to encourage me. It was a new school I'd gone to, and I'd only been there, we were only there for a year in total, so I didn't know her very long. But when we did our maths and things like that, we used to get these cards, and she used to ask me to wait for her. And she used to put pressure on me and say, if you really are my friend, you'll wait for me. And me being me was like, oh, okay, I don't mind waiting. So I'd wait for her and slow what I was doing down so that I could, until she'd said, okay, and then I'd carry on. And I realised eventually that she was actually ahead of me anyway. And she was really just trying to make me go further and further behind her. I have no idea what her triggers were or why she did this. We were very young. Eventually I called her out and I said, I'm not waiting for you because, you're normally ahead of me. So I don't know what's going on here, but I'm not waiting. And she threw an absolute temper tantrum, burst into tears, through this whole drama in the class. And I got pulled up to the teacher. Luckily for me, the teacher was very understanding, and when I explained what had happened, she didn't punish me and it was all okay and I carried on. But this particular friend then obviously wasn't. We had a major falling out. But when I look back on it, I don't fully understand, I was very young, what was going on with her. But there was obviously something going on there for a young child to feel they needed to manipulate like that. There was pain there. And when you understand that these actions come from pain and that person is doing whatever they can in that situation to handle that pain with the knowledge and the understanding of the world that they have, it means that you can forgive them, or I can. It's part of the forgiveness process. As I said, it doesn't absolve them of the actions. It doesn't mean you accept the actions or you have to put up with them. It means that you forgive them, knowing that at that point in time, they, with all the resources that they had within who they are and what they know, they didn't see that they had any other course of action. And that allows you to be free of what happened there. And when you forgive not because you want to give a blessing to the other person. You forgive because it hurts to carry that around with you. You damage yourself to hold on to that. And by forgiving, you let go of the past. And it allows you the freedom to move forwards and to live a different future. Anyway, those are a couple of things you can do with the past so that your past does not determine your future. There are many more. And if you do find yourself stuck in the past, give me a shout because I'm a coach and that's generally what I do. Or otherwise reach out to somebody else who's a coach or a therapist or whatever else it is that you need. But heal that past because otherwise you can't move forward and fully live. I hope you've enjoyed this today. There are loads of links as usual down in the show notes to my courses, some of my free courses, to some meditations that I've done, to my website, my social media if you want to connect and get in contact with me, or if you've got any questions. Always love to hear from you. Have a stunning week. So much love from me to you.